Hello and welcome to Engine Adventures review of this 2023 Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro. I believe this color is Solar Flare or something like that. It's the same one as the Sequoia I just had a couple weeks ago, and it's bright. I mean, I wish I were out in a parking lot out there or something I could show you, because this thing just stands out in a parking lot. It's crazy bright. Yeah, this one is pretty well equipped. Obviously, being the TRD Pro, it just comes standard with a lot of features that you don't get otherwise, and you get the TRD Pro in the headlights there. This one does have fully functional fog lights, so you can turn off your headlights and have your fog lights on, and they actually work that way, which is nice. It seems to be a little bit improved over previous years as far as the transmission tuning and stuff like that. Maybe the engine and transmission have both been retuned, I'm not sure, but for me on the freeway, it definitely holds speed and doesn't shift as much as the last one. It still does more than I want it to. The Ranger does better. The Frontier, in my opinion, did the best until this last one I had. So the last Frontier I had this last week, it didn't do as well on the freeway at keeping speed as the first ones I had for whatever reason, I don't know. So the Frontier's kind of gone downhill. The Tacoma's gone uphill, but I would still place the Frontier above the Tacoma for the freeway driving. I don't know why I'm talking about all this right now. We're just at the beginning in the intro. Let's go ahead and take a look around the outside of this one. It does have the surround view camera system, so I don't know how well that's going to show up. It's very bright right now outside, and you get the TRD. These, I believe, are forged BBS wheels. I know they are on some of the other TRD Pro models, and on these ones I'm not 100% sure of that, but I think they are the forged BBS wheels, which makes them stronger and just a little better for off-road. And then of course Goodyear Wrangler Territory ATs. This Territory AT is showing up in a lot of places, I believe. The Bronco, there's a version of the Goodyear Wrangler Territory on the Ram TRX, a few others, of course. On the Bronco they don't say Wrangler, but anyway, this is a pretty good tire, and the wheels are 16-inch. These are 265/70 R16 tires. Of course, the big thing with the TRD Pro, I don't know if this will show up real easy in there, but you get some pretty substantial Fox shocks front and rear, and even unique upper control arms. These ones, I did not notice this before, are colored kind of like a reddish anodized or something. It's probably aluminum block. It looks anodized for the upper control arm. And then rear shocks here, again, substantial remote reservoir. They're attached. I don't know what they call a remote reservoir. It's still got the remote reservoir, but it's attached to the shock body. And yeah, so that's the big update, big change, big improvement you get with these TRD Pros. Basically the suspension layout, and I believe full-size matching spare. I don't know if the wheel is a matching wheel or not, but you do get a full-size spare under there. Comes standard, I believe, with the receiver and 7 and 4 pin wiring. So we will be doing a towing test with this one. It does have, much like the Frontier did, although this does have the easy down tailgate, has these rails. This one gives you 4 tie down points. It doesn't have the rail. I didn't realize that was loose. We'll tighten that down. It doesn't have the rail in the front, but it looks like it has points so you can mount a rail up front if you wanted to. Outlet here, little tiny cubby box there, and see how dusty that is in there. So it's not a weather tight box or anything, but it is, you know, if you need to store something small, a good place for that. Bed mat is kind of a weird option. This is a composite bed, and I mean, it does add traction. It's got a rubbery instead of the plasticky feel to it, so it does add some traction, but anyway, it's not needed. And I don't see lights, so it has the cutouts for the lights on this one, but no lights in the bed. Of course, TRD Pro badging, 4x4. And yeah, the exhaust on this one is a little bit noisier coming from the V6, but it's nothing crazy, nothing over the top. It's just, you can hear it in the cab. It's not droning crazy loud or anything. It's just a little bit noisier. Let's go ahead and take a look under the hood. And I don't know if this is gonna show up, but this does have metallic. It's like a green metallic in the orange paint. It looks really good. I really like this color. And especially once you get it in the sunlight, it just shines like crazy. It might be a little much, but it is, I think, a really good color. All right, anyway, under the hood, fake hood scoop. At least there's only one. There was a time when there were 2 fake hood scoops on this thing. At least there's only one now. Oh, there we go. Hood's pretty heavy, and I need the hood latch on this one. Okay, sorry about that. Under the hood, you can see the back of the hood scoop here. It's just solid, so definitely non-functional. Here is that engine. It's the 3.5 liter Atkinson cycle engine, I believe. So it's, you know, for more fuel efficiency. And it's not a bad engine at all, but really just doesn't have a lot of low end torque. It has, I want to say, like 280. Let's see. 278 horsepower and 265 foot-pounds of torque. So not super high, especially with some of these new turbocharged engines and stuff like that, but it just isn't that low either compared to like the Frontier. It's not that much lower. For whatever reason, this engine does not feel as peppy and responsive as the Frontier engine does. And the fuel mileage is maybe slightly better, but it's not a big difference. Again, here, there's a reason for this. I don't get it, but I'm sure there's a reason because we're seeing this so often now. But there's a big gap in here that looks like it could be taken away. Crash worthiness, sensors, whatever it may be, I don't know. But many pickup trucks, SUVs today are adding a huge chunk in front of this, which seems unnecessary, but it's got to be there for a reason. So if someone knows, let me know. Anyway, let's take a look inside. It's really well laid out, in my opinion. So you get the wireless charging pad under there, and it's easy enough to turn on and off. So you have the button here. So if you're going to store other stuff in there, you can really easily just hit the button, turn it off. If you are going to charge, flip it on. And I don't see, I was wondering if there were USBs in there. I don't see any other USB ports or outlets in there. Yeah, plenty of buttons here. Blind spot monitor. This is kind of like your tow haul mode, ECT power. Anyway, parking sensors. Rear window is powered in this thing, and that sucker moves quite fast. So I didn't speed that up at all. That thing just really moves. Heated front seats right here. The screen is small, but I don't care. Like, it's a decent. It has everything you need on it. I don't have any issues with it. I still have an issue with these cameras. Need much higher quality cameras. The cameras on this thing aren't great. And the camera buttons over here on the side, it's fairly easy to see. You can lean over and see it really well. And same with these ones down here. Even though they're set lower, they're kind of out and up, so you can see it really easy. You can engage the outlets, the 120 volt outlets as needed there. Auto high beams, and then just your regular lights there. Down here, all the way down here, you can see that little notch right there. There's a button in there for resetting your TPMS stuff. And then traction control right there. Anyway, and on this thing, it really can turn that off all the way because you do get the drive modes up here. And I like that they put the drive modes up here. Yeah, you lose out on your sunglasses holder, which I almost never use anyway. But you get all this stuff that you don't use all the time up here out of the way, instead of being right here where you can use it. You know, you can use these other spaces, or this space, for other things more often than you'll be using those. So I like that Toyota puts up here multi-terrain select, crawl control, and your rear locker there. And we'll go through some of that in the off-road video. Be sure you check that out. I did miss the heated button here. Engine start stop button, 4-wheel drive. This is shift on the fly, so as long as you're under like 55 miles an hour, you can flip that over to 4 high, and then to go to 4 low, transmission's in neutral, be to stop, shift it into 4 low. Dual zone climate control, just kind of basic. Like there's not a ton going on, but everything you need is here. And there's that USB that I was talking about earlier. I was hoping there were more down there, but I didn't see any. Anyway, I like this layout, and like I said, despite being a small screen, I prefer this to having a tablet duct taped onto the dash or whatever they're doing with new vehicles these days. But I do like the layout of this thing overall. And then on the mirror, does have the home link and auto dimming, that kind of stuff on there. In here, 2 more USB ports in the center armrest, and they're illuminated there, so you can see them pretty easy. Pen holder, and that's kind of a standard thing now that's in a lot of vehicles. And it's 38 degrees, so it's not that cold, but man, it feels cold out here. Glove box is actually quite sizable, and the cabin air filter is inside there behind that, so if you do need to get to it, it's there. But like this, with the shelf in here across the thing, you can fit a full-size sheet of paper and be just fine on this one. I like this glove box. No upper glove box, but the lower one is sizable and usable, which is always great news. Fuel mileage I've been getting, well, I guess on this tank, because they filled it up right before they dropped it off, 18.1. So fuel mileage is not bad. Not as good as some of the others, many of the others, but really not too bad. And I believe, I didn't notice this before, there's an elk over there. That's what that dog was going after. Anyway, sorry, distracted. And let's take a look in the back seat now. I think that covers, well, I didn't talk about all this. So audio controls are here. It's not bad to use. And yeah, when you're trying to scroll through one station at a time, it's easier to use this knob unless you're driving down the road and you kind of bounce and you go through a bunch at once. So if you're kind of bouncing along, this is easier, but I'll show you now. I'm going to push it and hold it, and you'll see how long it takes before it will change. So that's one station. So if you're trying to scroll through a bunch, it can take you quite a while to get through them all. Other than that, I have no real qualms with this system. As far as temperatures go, additional gauges and stuff like that, we'll talk about that more in the towing video, but all you get is a coolant temp and fuel gauge. There are no additional gauges really. You've got, yeah, a few other settings and features in here, but you don't get additional gauges. So when you're towing, you don't have a trans temp, you don't have oil pressure, oil temperature. You do get the roll and pitch and tire pressures, but that's it. You don't get any additional vehicle information, which would be nice, especially when towing, of course. All right, back here, space is okay. So the seat feels very upright. My knee is just barely touching on there. Of course, that's how I have the driver's seat when I'm driving. And so if I had a passenger in the back, I might actually slide the driver's seat forward a little bit just to give them a little bit more room. I didn't talk about the sunroof, but it does have the sunroof up there. And no center armrest here. So I believe it. Oh, the whole thing folds. And this one has a speaker back there. But yeah, you don't have a fold down center armrest there. And I'll show you on this side. When you fold the seat forward, you do get a little storage cubby back there. And of course, access to the child seat anchors. And if you fold the seat forward, hopefully there's enough room to do that. It does have storage cubbies underneath on both sides, and you can pull the headrest out, and then you have this hard plastic, and that'll fold all the way down. If you take the headrest out, that'll fold down flat and allow you to use that as a large flat storage space. Yeah, I don't know. The layout, sorry, I'm fighting with the seatbelt over there. The layout's not bad, but it's not amazing either. I do like the storage cubbies that kind of have their own little container in there. It makes it so it's not too hard to keep things contained. You know, sometimes these are open which allows you to put more stuff under there, but having them open also allows your stuff to float around more in the vehicle. But having these storage containers with the lids on them and everything keeps everything isolated. And of course there is your jack and tools for changing the tire, putting the spare tire on, whatever. And of course lowering the tire down from underneath the truck. So anyway, layout's not bad, but not a ton of space in here. You don't have any extra features. You got a couple cup holders there, and that's about it. So there's not much going on back here apart from the basics. So I don't have a window sticker for this one, but the base price is $47,185. That's before destination charge and all that. So starting with that, that's where you'll go on this one. And yeah, that's a little bit higher. You get a lot of features, but if you're gonna go down to something like a TRD off-road, I mean, you're 12 grand cheaper. You get all of the same hardware as far as as far as traction management. You don't get maybe the same tires, you don't get the forged wheels and the Fox shocks, but for 10 to 12 grand cheaper, if you're gonna do off-roading, this TRD off-road might actually be the better option. And then all the way down to the SR and SR5s. But anyway, if you're going to be doing modifications and stuff like that, maybe go with this TRD off-road. If you just want something straight from the factory that's ready to go and can take a lot, go with the TRD Pro. There is the Trail Edition as well, but I think the TRD off-road is the best bang for your buck. Cruising on the freeway, the Tacoma seems to be doing slightly better this year than in the past. It still needs to hunt for gears a little bit. It just doesn't have enough low-end torque to cruise gently and nicely on the freeway, but it does seem like the shift points have improved a little bit. It's not constantly staying in the highest gear, so sometimes it'll downshift and hold that gear for a little while longer rather than downshifting, upshifting, downshifting, upshifting. It'll downshift and hold that gear for a little while, which definitely helps. It still does feel like it loses speed over all the little overpasses, that kind of thing, just because it's not a high torque engine at low RPM. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty decent on the freeway. You get a little bit of exhaust noise, but it's not overbearing. A little bit of wind noise, maybe slightly louder than what we had in the Frontier last week, but really not much for this truck's being, you know, quite a bit bigger than that Frontier as far as, you know, height and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it really doesn't do too bad. All right, just missed the S-curves. It's a little bit softer in the corners than the Frontier was, but really not bad. And we're just in two-wheel drive, regular, just how you normally drive. We're gonna do 0 to 60, and no brake torquing or anything, so just flat footing it. 3, 2, 1, go. No significant wheel spin. It actually did pull pretty hard once it got up in the high RPM range, 60. Yeah, so we definitely got a much better number with the Tacoma than we did with the Frontier. Oh, maybe not. 8.93. To me, it felt faster than that. Not too bad, 0 to 60. I bet that's on par. I think the Frontier was maybe that exact same number. Really close. Thank you for watching Engine Adventures review of this 2023 Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro. It's not a bad vehicle on-road. Be sure you check out the off-road video because that is where this thing shines. So as far as on-road driving and maneuvering around town, keeping speed at freeway, it's okay. It's not the best in this class for sure. I haven't done the towing test yet, so there will be a towing video as well on this. Be sure to check that out. And really, overall, not a bad truck. It just depends on what you're doing. If you are off-road focused, then this could be one of the best options for a mid-size truck out there. And we'll have to see with the new Chevy Colorado, especially once they get the ZR2 finished. That one will be a fun one. This one kind of competes for higher speed off-road as all the Toyota TRD Pros do. It's good on roads like this that aren't insanely bumpy or anything, but have a decent amount of bumps. This thing can just cruise on those all day long without overheating the shocks and maintaining control and all that stuff, it does really well in those situations. Anyway, check out the off-road video, check out the towing video to see more on those. And if you liked what you saw, be sure to hit subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post new videos, and give me a thumbs up. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like. If you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down, but comment and let me know. Thanks again. Have a great day.